Gaetano Badalamenti, September 14, 1923, April 29, 2004, was a powerful member of the Sicilian Mafia and the Capo Familia of Cinisi. In the 1970s, he chaired the Sicilian Mafia Commission. In 1987, he was sentenced to 45 years in federal prison in the United States for being one of the leaders of the Pizza Connection, a drug trafficking ring that used pizzerias as fronts from 1975 to 1984. He was also sentenced to life in prison in Italy in 2002 for the murder of Peppino Impastato in 1978, the early years. Tano Badalamenti was the youngest of a family with 5 sons and 4 daughters, and they owned a dairy farm in Cinisi. He received very little education, attending school for just 4 years before starting work as a field laborer at the age of 10. In 1941, he was drafted into the Italian Royal Army, but deserted during the Allied invasion of Sicily in 1943. His older brother, Emanuele Badalamenti, had moved to the United States and was running a supermarket and gas station in Monroe, Michigan. In 1946, Gaetano was wanted on charges of conspiracy and kidnapping. The following year, he was also accused of murder and fled to join his brother in the US. However, he was arrested in 1950 and deported back to Italy. After returning, Badalamenti married Teresa Vitale, whose sister was married to Filippo Rimi, a capo mafia from Alcamo. He established a business as a lemon grower on family land, and all legal troubles he faced were resolved due to insufficient evidence. Badalamenti later founded a successful construction company that supplied crushed rock for the Punta Raisi airport in Palermo, which fell under his family's influence. Despite the airport's challenging location, he managed to bribe officials to have it built near his hometown. The construction project required large quantities of rock and gravel, readily available from his family's land. This endeavor not only provided much-needed jobs for the local community, but also significantly enriched Badalamenti. In 1963, following the assassination of Cesare Manzella by a car bomb during the First Mafia War, Badalamenti took control of the mafia in Cinisi. The violence escalated with the Ciaculli massacre on June 30th, 1963, when 7 police officers and soldiers were killed while attempting to defuse a bomb meant for mafia member Salvatore Greco. This incident transformed the mafia war into an all-out conflict against the mafia, triggering the first coordinated anti-mafia efforts by the Italian government in the aftermath. Within 10 weeks, 1,200 mafia members were arrested, many of whom were kept out of circulation for 5 to 6 years, and the Sicilian Mafia Commission was dissolved. Badalamenti established complete control over Cinisi. His relationship with the Carabinieri was notably amicable. He was seen as calm, trustworthy, and sociable. Giovanni Impastato, brother of murdered anti-mafia activist Giuseppe Impastato, recalled, "It seemed that the Carabinieri liked Badalamenti very much. In a quiet little town like Cinisi, where nothing happened, it felt like he was doing them a favor." He noted that he often saw the police strolling arm in arm with Tano Badalamenti and his associates, highlighting the troubling intimacy between law enforcement and mafia members. "When you see police walking arm in arm with mafia members, you can't trust the institutions," he stated during a declaration before the Italian Anti-Mafia Commission. He is the rise and fall of Gaetano Badalamenti. Gaetano Badalamenti would become one of the most significant heroin traffickers in the Sicilian Mafia. From 1975 to 1984, he was a key player in the Pizza Connection, a massive drug trafficking operation that imported heroin from the Middle East and distributed it through pizzerias across the Midwest, amassing a staggering $1.65 billion. His criminal activities began earlier. In 1951, US authorities intercepted a shipment of 50 kilograms of heroin linked to Badalamenti, who was living illegally in Detroit at the time. However, during the 1950s, his most substantial profits came from smuggling foreign cigarettes into Italy. He was first arrested for cigarette smuggling in 1953 and again in 1957 with 3,000 kilograms of contraband. The pressure resulting from the Sicily massacre in 1963 severely disrupted the heroin trade to the United States. Mafia members faced arrests and increased scrutiny, leading to a shift in control among key figures, including Badalamenti, Salvatore Ciaschitedu, Greco, and others. In 1970, the Sicilian Mafia Commission was re-established, initially led by a trio comprising Badalamenti, Stefano Bontade, and Corleonesi boss Luciano Leggio, although Salvatore Rina would soon rise to prominence within the group. One of the Commission's early challenges was a proposal from Prince Giunio Valerio Borghese, who sought support for a neo-fascist coup in exchange for pardoning convicted mafia bosses. Badalamenti opposed the plan, which ultimately fizzled out on December 8, 1970. By 1974, under Badalamenti's leadership, the Commission was reconstituted to resolve disputes and maintain peace among rival factions. However, Salvatore Rina was secretly plotting to eliminate Palermo clans. After 1975, Badalamenti allied with Salvatore Catalano of the Bonanno family in New York, using mafia-owned pizzerias as distribution points for millions of dollars worth of heroin and cocaine. In January 1978, Salvatore Greco, the aging head of the Commission, traveled from Venezuela to prevent retaliation against the growing power of the Corleonesi. Despite Greco's pleas, Badalamenti and his ally, Giuseppe Di Cristina, decided to go ahead with a plan to kill Francesco Madonia, a rival mafia boss. Madonia was murdered on April 8, 1976. Well, this act of aggression led to swift retribution. Di Cristina was killed by the Corleonesi in May, and soon after, Giuseppe Calderone met a similar fate in September. By the end of 1978, Badalamenti was expelled from the Commission, replaced by Michele Greco. He was succeeded as head of the Cinisi Mafia family by his cousin, Antonio Badalamenti. Following this, Gaetano fled to Brazil, settling in São Paulo. In 1984, FBI wiretaps revealed that Badalamenti was planning a meeting in Madrid with his nephew Pietro Pete Alfano, who owned a pizzeria in Oregon and was viewed as a key contact for drug trafficking in the US. On April 8, 1984, Spanish police and FBI agents arrested Badalamenti and his son, Vito, along with Alfano. They were extradited to the United States in November. In 1985, Badalamenti and over a dozen others were tried in New York in what became known as the Pizza Connection case. The trial, which lasted about 17 months, was one of the longest in US legal history. It culminated in the conviction of Badalamenti and Catalano on March 2nd, 1987, with both receiving 45-year prison sentences on June 22nd, 1987. Only Vito was acquitted and released. Badalamenti was also fined $125,000 and was ordered to serve no more than 30 years, with the stipulation that he would be released after that time, provided he lived long enough to see it. Misery. Death. Gaetano Badalamenti passed away on April 29, 2004, at the age of 80, due to heart failure at the Devens Federal Medical Center in Aya, Massachusetts. In his 1988 book, Last Days of the Sicilians, New York Times journalist Ralph Blumenthal described Badalamenti as a manipulator who would do anything to reclaim leadership of the Sicilian Mafia. Conversely, Shana Alexander, in her book The Pizza Connection, published the same year, characterized him as an extraordinarily honorable man. This contrasting portrayal highlights the complex legacy of a figure deeply entwined in the fabric of organized crime.